Today, which is the 18th of July 2016, the Spiel des Jahres and Kenner Spiel des Jahres awards were announced for 2016, and I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to share my thoughts, my very early thoughts, on those award winners, and round off my series of videos which have looked at previous winners of the award, previous nominees for the award, previous recommendations, and games which I felt should have been nominated or won in the past, but haven't. So if you want to look at any of those videos, go back. You'll find them on my previous vlogs over the last couple of weeks. But the winner today, the big winner, was Vlada Shavatil with his game Codenames. This won the Spiel des Jahres main award, which is the family style sort of gaming award. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be Imhotep. Now you may think I'm foolish because Codenames has been doing extremely well. I mean, it's a massive seller. It's being played everywhere. It's been extremely popular over the last few months. But I felt Imhotep was more in keeping with what's won in the past and what makes a good sort of family weight sort of game. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as we go further through this video. The winner of the Kenner Spiel was Isle of Skye, Alexander Pfister and Andreas Pelikan's game, which is a tile-laying sort of auction style. Fairly, it's got some neat ideas in it, but it's a Euro game, and it was up against such innovative games with Time Stories and Pandemic Legacy. So again, an interesting result because Pandemic Legacy and Time Stories really brought something new. This idea of a sort of a disposable game, a game which you could play through once, but then you're kind of done. So that was an interesting thing again. But before we go on, let's have a quick look at what Codenames is all about. In Codenames, players play in teams. One player on each team is a clue giver. A selection of cards form a grid on the table, and each card is allocated to either the red team, the blue team, neither team, or an assassin, and only the clue givers on each team know which is which. The clue giver attempts to direct their teammates towards the cards which match their own colour. They do this by saying a single word and a single number. The number indicates how many cards they're trying to point their teammates towards, and the word is linked in some way to the words on the cards. Often this is extremely tenuous. If the teammates guess correctly, they place one of their markers on the card. If they guess one of the opposing team's cards, then they place a marker for that team and they score. If they choose a card belonging to neither team, then they place a neutral marker. And if they choose the assassin card, then the team loses immediately. The first team to place all their markers wins. So that was the big winner today, Codenames. And the reason I found it a little bit surprising is not because I don't think it's a good game. I do, I think it's an excellent game. But I think it's only really a good game with 6 or more players. And the reason that I say that is because you've got one player who's the clue giver. Now, they're pretty much silent. They have to sit in silence. You've got their teammate, and then you've got another clue giver and another teammate. So this is a 4-player game we're talking about now. Now at the moment, the two people who are guessing, they don't really want to talk to each other because they don't want to give too many clues to each other. And the 2 clue givers are silent pretty much throughout. So it makes for a very quiet, sort of studious party game. Not really a party atmosphere at all. You introduce a couple of teammates into this, so suddenly you have a clue giver and 2 people discussing why they think this is the correct answer or that's the correct answer, and the game comes alive. The more players that you add to these teams, the more heated the discussion gets, and the more convoluted routes people go down when they try and explain why this thing is linked to that thing, and it becomes very funny. It's the sort of thing that I see being played, and people gradually add themselves to the game and join in mid-game. And it does become a party atmosphere at that point, but only in the large player counts, which makes it a bit odd as a choice for a sort of family game award, I think. The other thing that's strange about it is how successful it has been in such a short space of time. Not because it doesn't deserve it, it does, but this hasn't come from Hasbro or Mattel or something like that. This is a game that's been produced by Czech Games Editions. Now that's not small fry by any means. They've had very successful, very popular games in the hobby market in the past, but this game has come through that hobby market route, even though essentially it's a mass market style game. That's not to do it down. There's some very good mass market party games. You know, we're talking Balderdash, Articulate, those sort of things. And really this fits into that genre. The other thing is, I think the packaging is really boring. This sort of clip art style picture on it. So what's led to its selling? It's not the look of the game. When you lay out those cards, it doesn't look fantastic. The new Codenames pictures, now they're onto something. Now they're starting to make it look quite beautiful. It's a cheap package, doesn't cost much to buy. I think that's really helped it. Vlaada Chvátil is a name. He's made some great games in the past, or very popular games at least. They've not always been to my taste, but Galaxy Trucker, Dungeon Pets, Dungeon Lords, Pictomania, Space Alert. You know, these are Mage Knight. These are all games that have garnered a huge amount of respect in some quarters and very diverse. You know, Tashkalar, Arena of Legends. He seems to be able to design in all these different fields, and you can't really pin him down on being of one genre or another. It's good to see him win the award. It's not the first time he's won a Spiel des Jahres. Space Alert won a special award some years ago. So a worthy winner, but just I was a little bit surprised. The one that I thought was going to win was Imhotep from Phil Walker Harding. So let's have a look at that one. In Imhotep, players attempt to score points by building Egyptian monuments, pyramids, temples, burial chambers and obelisks. On a player's turn, they may add blocks to their supply, move a block from their supply to a ship, or move a ship to a site and contribute to the building. Some sites offer special action cards, some offer in-game scoring, others offer end-game scoring for majorities, but each site has a unique mechanism for its scoring, and the game offers a selection of variable boards which you can mix and match to shake up your experience over multiple plays. Now, I was a bit disappointed for Phil Walker Harding because I really, really like Imhotep, but I've been a huge fan of Sushi Go for a number of years now. It's been something I've played a lot with all sorts of different groups. And this year, Phil also brought out Sushi Go Party has just arrived, which I'm very much looking forward to getting hold of. Cacao was a really good tile-laying game, similar style to sort of Carcassonne. Great game, you know, really fantastic. And then there was a reprint of his archaeology card game, which I've heard good things about too. So he's having a stellar year, and I really wanted to see sort of this newcomer rising through with these great games win the award. I thought that would have been lovely. Imhotep is exactly in line with the sort of games the Spiel has awarded in the past. And it feels like it's from the same designer as Sushi Go, just because of those different. It feels like Phil is exploring all these different types of scoring mechanisms, you know, and he's finding a few that work well together. But both these games, Sushi Go and Imhotep, are infinitely expandable. You know, you can come up with new ways of scoring for each thing and slot those in. As you see with Imhotep, you can flip the tiles over and change the scoring categories, similar to what you can do with Sushi Go Party, where you can slot in different cards and have a different play experience. I like that, and I was looking forward to all the massive different Imhotep expansions that were bound to come with a Spiel des Jahres win. Maybe we'll still get them. I don't know. The other game that we haven't talked about yet is Karuba from Harbour Games. Now, Karuba was a great little game from Rudiger Dawn, and Rudiger Dawn has produced many of fantastic games. I really love his game Arcadia, and I really love Las Vegas. And Rudiger is known for one particular mechanism, using that sort of Mancala mechanism where when you move you leave something behind. Doesn't particularly feature in his game Karuba, but Karuba was one of the first strategy games for Harbour, who are known for those children's games, those games in the yellow boxes. So it's nice to see a range of strategy games, and it's nice to see them actually establishing themselves in the US as well as in Germany. So Karuba deserves some respect, but it's not as good a game, unfortunately, as Imhotep or Codenames in my view. It's great, it's lovely though. It's a lovely game, well worth looking at. Who's lost out this time round? We've got Phil Walker Harding, Matt Leacock. He's been unfortunate with the Spiel des Jahres awards. Previously, he's been nominated with Roll Through the Ages. He's been nominated with Pandemic. He's failed to receive a nomination for his Forbidden Desert and Forbidden Island games, even though they're very much of the right weight for Spiel des Jahres. So I think he's been unfortunate with Pandemic Legacy not winning this year. The Time Stories guys, total newcomers. But the publisher of Time Stories, the designers are new, but the publisher, they've again, they keep just missing it. Elysium was nominated last year for the Kenner Spiel. Splendor was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres main award a couple of years ago. So Time Stories, a new company, admittedly a sort of offshoot of Asmodee, and a bunch of the people there were significant figures in Asmodee and probably still are. Time Stories is, Space Cowboys is by no means a small outfit, but they are new and they just keep missing. So one day I'm sure they're going to get there sometime soon. Pandemic Legacy and Time Stories, I'm not particularly surprised that they didn't get the award because of that disposable nature of the game. Once you've played it, with Pandemic Legacy, you've pretty much wrecked it because you've written all over it, you've stuck stickers on it. I haven't played the game. Time Stories, admittedly, you can package it back up and pass it on to somebody else, but you're not going to want to play it yourself because essentially it's like reading a story. Neither of these games are to my taste because of the commitment involved. You need to sit down with the same group of players over and over again to work your way through these stories, and that's not really how I play games. I have too many games for that. I tend to play one game, put it on the shelf for a few months, come back to it, and I don't want that continuing exercise. There's not many games that I play that have that sort of campaign mode in them. I tend to avoid those games. There are a few that I make exceptions for, but not many. I'd like to give those games a go, but I don't know quite how I'm going to fit it into the way that I play games. So anyway, that's my immediate thoughts on the award. I'm sure I'll have more thoughts over coming weeks. But it's good to see Alexander Pfister. He's won 2 years in a row now. Isle of Skye won the Kenner Spiel this year. The previous year himself and Andreas Pelikan won with Broom Service. There's not many times that people have won twice in 2 years. I think Klaus Teuber did it back in the 80s, 90s, and Wolfgang Kramer, who still is at the top of the list of people who've won the most Spiel awards. Wolfgang Kramer's, I think, won 5 different awards at this point. But it's nice to see Alexander Pfister come up there. And I think he's one to watch in the future. Anyway, interesting day. I enjoyed following the sort of build up to the awards. It's a bit like the board game Oscars, isn't it? So I think it's worth getting excited about for a little bit. But basically a good year. Great games all around. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Adam in Wales, and this is my board gaming vlog. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at BoardGameWales, and if you want to look me up on Board Game Geek, I'm Adam78. Please subscribe to my channel and watch some of my other videos, and I'll see you next time. All the best.